primary control of critical vehicle functions. Roger, roll, Discovery.
Hello, and welcome to Cutting to the Bull in the post-truth apocalypse. This first part of the show is live. So, I'm Ben. As always, I'm joined by Gaz.
Hello.
And Mike.
Hello.
Today's main topic is the murder of Jill Dando, British television presenter, on her doorstep.
The BBC's Golden Girl.
Yeah, unsolved.
Bullet in the head.
Yes, yes there was. Just the one though.
Yeah.
So in a slight change to the show's format, and to give some people that may watch our weird news intros a taste of what comes at the end of the show, we're going to play our very own game show that we invented called Never Go Full Alex.
Were you trying to get crazy with this, eh? Don't you know I'm loco?
Now, Saint Alex Jones is one of our patron saints of the show, ironic patron saints of the show, along with Tony Blair and David Icke. Now, we say you should never go full Alex. Now, what happens in this show is that Mike will find us a couple of random weirdos he's found on the net.
Sorry to interrupt, should we just explain for new people what going full Alex actually is?
I think they've only got to watch it, be aware of Alex Jones.
Yeah, if you're familiar with an Alex Jones rant, going full Alex is a complete descent into conspiracy madness.
Yeah.
And sorry. Oh, you were drinking.
Yeah, I was,
Threw
sorry.
back to you.
No, I thought you were carrying on. Professionalism.
Smooth.
And that's actually a soft drink.
Fucking hell. You have been in the sun today.
Yeah. Had a few beers earlier.
Call an ambulance.
Maybe I've been replaced by a clone.
Explains it.
Stranger things have happened.
It's true that
So
Nazi becoming Pope.
Let's explain our game show.
Yeah, so Mike finds just a couple of random weirdos from the internet who are spouting, well, let's say bollocks. Then he puts them up against the arch saint of insanity himself, Alex Jones. And the idea is for the three of us to decide who's gone more full Alex. Now that can involve shouty screaming. It can involve just plain bigotry.
Mm-hmm.
And it also can involve just plain lying insanity.
Yeah, and we should probably also point out, as we're doing this on Facebook for the first time, we do not endorse the opinions or words that are going to come out of the mouths of any of these fucking people unless we state otherwise.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
We do not endorse the views of Alex Jones or whoever else he's going up against this
This
week.
is purely for piss take purposes.
Yeah, if we do endorse them, we'll tell you. That's the main thing. Yeah. Alright, so who we got first, Mike?
Okay, first up we've got the prophet Bobby Connor.
Now, Bobby Connor is a newcomer who's won his first two shows.
Yeah.
His first two appearances, he has won it hands down.
He's literally beat the master Alex Jones 2 weeks running.
So, can he get a third week on the spin? Let's find out. So what's he talking about?
He's saying that the hordes of hell are trying to come to Earth.
Well, he's won it for me.
Wow.
Okay, let's see what he's got to say.
Okay, bit of technical hitch.
Oh, technical problems.
No, technical. I couldn't even say it. That's how difficult it was.
The third heaven, and we were there, and the Lord said to me, "Look," and I looked down like this, and I saw the second heaven, the place where the devil makes his strategies and his plans, and the devil summons a principality. And all of hell, you could feel the evil, you could feel the vibration and excitement. And so this principality, they bring this box, a black box that looked maybe 18 inches long, maybe 10 inches high, and it had black smoke rolling around it like this.
That's pretty cool.
And so I watched this. I can see it like I'm watching a movie. And so this devil opens this, and you can hear like just heaven buzzing like this. And they take out an implement, some kind of a key. Didn't look like a key, but it was a key. And the devil says to this principality, "Go unlock the hordes." That's what he said. And so he takes this implement and he starts flying off like this, just flying off through the universe. And so the Lord said to me, "Go stop it." And this is happening. So I take off and I fly. I'm flying, trailing him just like this, and he flies, and he goes into a part of the earth that looks much like the Badlands. You know, not trees, but like caves and canyons. And this thing flies into a hole in the side of the earth. So I go in there too. And most of the time, I was invisible. I could do anything around them. They couldn't detect me. So I thought it was going to be that way this time. So this thing gets there and he morphs back out like this. And so he's got the key. And you could hear the caged demons. You could hear them. They're gleeful that they're going to be turned loose. And so this principality is handing this key over to the keeper of those hordes. And so the Lord said to me, I said, stop them. So I thought, okay. And so now I went whack, just like that. And and I hit this thing real hard right here, and the key goes up almost like slow motion. You can hear
like a John Woo movie.
Whang, all on a hard rock floor, and it makes a jingling, and it rolls like that and rolls through a crevice, rolls down into a crevice. And so, but I thought I'd still be invisible, but I wasn't. They me like you could not believe. They were trying to rip flesh. They were trying to rip my heart out.
They were angry.
I've never seen anything like it. And so then the only way in the world I could get them off of me, I'd say, Jesus, have mercy. They'd have to turn me loose. Then I'd speak in tongues. I'd pray in tongues, and it's pitch black. It's blacker than black. When I pray in tongues, a little ball of light would go and fall right into the floor like that, and I could step in this. And during that time when I'm crying out, I wake my wife up. She hears all this struggle, and I'm praying in tongues, and I say, step in the light, and that's the only way I got out of that thing. Well, but I'm telling you, when I came out of this thing, it almost, listen, I could feel the effects of it. And the Lord said, tell the church you bought a little time. You remember when I knocked that thing out? So there's a little time. You know, we got to work while it's day, because the night comes when nobody's
going to work.
Okay.
All right. So was he dreaming or what? Because that's the impression I got from it.
Either dreaming or having an intense acid trip that went horribly wrong.
Or some kind of schizophrenic episode.
I love how he just so casually just mentioned,
God told me. He said he's literally on a fucking phone to God all the time in his head. And I just call that schizophrenia.
Well, that fella that created everything, the universe, and everything we know.
He only speaks to me.
We're just chatting to him. You don't chat to him? Sucks for you.
Yeah.
Can I have some money, please?
Yeah. Anyway, I flew invisibly behind a demon.
I love
and then I karate chopped him on the back of the neck and he dropped the key.
And I love the way the key flew through the air. Like
the fucking Matrix.
Like he's a fucking John McClane of heaven, or hell, wherever the fuck he was.
The box with smoke around it.
Oh, that was pretty cool, though, the box of smoke around it. I kind of like that.
Fighting the demons.
Oh, man. Well, that was a strong start.
It's a strong start for Bobby.
I mean, he's a pathological liar, isn't he?
He's a pathological summit.
But he just sits there so casually, and I didn't like the way he said crevice in his accent. That wasn't pleasant. Wow, yeah, strong start, so who's next?
Okay, next up, Pat Robertson.
Oh, he's a multiple time winner as well, Pat.
This guy's a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
If you know a dead person, Pat Robertson has great news.
Well, I suppose I know them, I don't know them anymore. How does that work? Okay, well, let's find out what Pat has to say. This bona fide fucking moron.
Power that it took to raise Jesus Christ from the dead, and if so, where is that in the Bible?
Well, he gave his disciples the authority to heal the sick, to raise the dead. I mean, that was part of our power. You see, ladies and gentlemen, God is almighty. He is almighty, and he gives us that power. And Jesus said, you say to the mountain, you speak to the dead person. He called on Lazarus. He said, Lazarus, come forth. And the dead man came up out of the grave. We have the same power. He's given it to us. It's in the Holy Spirit. But we need to be in touch with him. We need to behold him. We need to be submitted to him. And that power is there. We just aren't using it.
Send me some money!
Wow. So we have the power to raise the dead. We've just got to be in contact. We've got to surrender to God.
I just thought he was babbling about something.
So if I surrender to God, I can bring back my dead cat. Or does it only work on people?
I don't know, but
he didn't explain the powers very well.
He said he called on Lazarus. Now,
that's where
I'm not a Bible scholar by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm pretty sure that Jesus rose Lazarus back, and did he just die again? He didn't need to raise him up again. He was still knocking around, wasn't he?
Do you know, God's honest truth, the only place I've ever heard of Lazarus from is the Lazarus pit in the Batman comics.
Ah, one of the
Where
Nick
you go
Cave
to
song.
get eternal youth. You
The
dip
Barry
yourself
song.
in it. The who?
The Barry song.
Barry.
Barry.
Oh, Barry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
David Barry, yeah.
yeah, I think Nick Cave did one as well.
Well, there you go.
I
He's
just
got
think
that power.
I just think he's drunk half the time, Pat Robertson. You know, I think he's pissed.
He's also 312 years old.
As you say, he looks good for 312.
And evil.
Right, so
Now, the master himself, can he reclaim his crown that's been taken from him 2 weeks running?
Yeah.
That's unprecedented on the show,
it
isn't
is. He's never lost 2 in a row.
We've been doing this game show for nearly a couple of years now.
70. This will be the 80th something episode
Yeah.
we've done on the show.
And this guy has never lost 2 on the bounce before, so can Alex reclaim his place, his rightful place, some might say, at the top of the lunatic tree?
Opinions divided.
He's going on about demonic moustaches.
Okay. Well, it should be interesting.
And when you reach the point where the whole top echelon is crooks are on the take and nobody can bust anybody, you know, low-level crooks are like, hey, you're running child kidnapping rings. I don't support that. Well, really? If you talk about it, we'll talk about you taking drug money. I guess I'll shut up. That's right. You will shut up.
Well,
and so why not take the veterans' death benefits 12 years ago? Why not? 2 weeks ago, the announcement came out. They've raided all the federal pension funds. You got IOUs now. You're never going to get any of it. If you do, it'll be devalued. Why not? They're going to take it from you, too. They don't care. They don't care if there's hundreds of reactors built 40 years ago rotting and releasing radioactive gas. The elites just are crazy. They just don't care anymore. They've got a total laissez-faire attitude, and they're just partying and mistresses and snuff films and whatever they're into, and they don't care.
Well, I agree with him to now.
Might as well have the devil driving a runaway train. I mean, that's basically what it is. And all the average feds care about is dressing up in black uniforms and having mustaches and staring at people. They've all got mustaches and they bug their eyes out at you and think they scare you. And you just look like an absolute clown freak that works for murdering terrorists that jack our food and water. I think you're a big joke. That's what I think you are, murdering scum. And those of you that serve the system are murdering scum. All of you. You're all aid and abet murdering scum that says they'll secretly arrest citizens in army bases all over the world, raping children with battery acid, armies of all. You support raping children with battery acid, with giant objects. That's in the Army report. If you don't speak out against it, if you don't go out against it, if you don't stand up against it, you support it. You support it. You support it. You are now child killers, child torturers. You are now aiding and abetting it. You are literally going to hell in a handbasket. Repent now. Repent now. I know your mustache is cool. You got little gold frame glasses. You scare me so bad. You scared. Scum! Scum! All right, I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah,
all right.
all right.
I'm going to watch them when they blow up some federal buildings, prance around the very murderers as my savior, and all the cowards out there begging the government, even proctology exams on the side of the highway. What's driving me crazy is that photo right there. Zoom in on that. Cops in a black uniform with a mustache. You know that guy's a coward. You know he's a piece of garbage. You know he's weak. He'd love it. Those are the type of people that go to the cops in Oklahoma and say, "We'll kill your wives if you expose we did this." And the cops all just roll over to it. "Oh, you got a mustache. I'll just worship you. Oh, you got a mustache. It's okay." Your demonic little mustaches. Nothing against mustaches, just a little homoerotic gang of mustaches. All right, let's go ahead and go to, Sean in Maine. The radio network running to lay on me, folks. This is all real and live. I'm red-blooded and I hate murderers. All right. Sean, what's that word? Sean in Maine, go ahead. Shane!
Shane! Alright, I can't help but feel
I'm telling you.
that rant was inspired by the fact he got pulled over by a policeman with a moustache.
Yeah.
Gave him a proctology exam at the side of the road.
Yeah, he thought he was smuggling drugs. The policeman got his rubber glove out. Put his finger up there, check for drugs, because obviously Alex is nuts. I just can't help but feel that that's a rant against the policeman who pulled him over.
He came back so strong. He has to win this week. He was on the ropes and he'd come back with a fucking haymaker.
Bobby Connor's karate chopping demons in Dreamland.
He just called us all child killers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Raping kids with battery acid. What that's all about.
No.
Mustache. He's fucking nuts. He's unhinged.
Has Alex ever grown a moustache?
He's had beard. He's a bit beardy lately.
I don't think he can grow a moustache, and that's why I think he's so inflamed about it.
I think that was peak Alex.
I think he's won. I do think. I mean, Bobby put up a good fight. It's a close second.
He's a good newcomer, but Alex he let him know whose house it really is.
Yeah, he slapped him down.
Woo! That was fucking incredible.
It was, wasn't it?
That's the best Alex rant for a while that we've heard.
Absolutely.
Epic. Well, do you want to wrap up?
Yeah, so that's been full Alex. So if we usually do that at the end of the show, listeners, so
when we're absolutely wrecked.
Yeah, I decided we should probably do it a bit earlier if we're going to do it live. So we will finish on weird news for the Jill Dando episode.
Yeah. And
we will kick into weird news now if you're listening to this on via one of our many fine hosting platforms, iTunes, SoundCloud.
Yes. YouTube.
Never forget YouTube. Please follow us on Facebook. Like us, leave us a nice review if you want to. Right, so we're back. Now we're going to kick on with weird news to start the show, and then we will get on to the main cut and thrust of today, which is Jill Dando. So what we got up first, Mike?
Let's get the boys' views on this week's weird news.
Man who performs sex act by horses caught out in public again.
Again.
So, a man who is, quote, unable or unwilling to stop himself performing sex acts in public has done it again twice in 24 hours. Malcolm Downs, 61, has a, quote, long history of pleasuring himself near horses, and would last before the courts in 2016 when he was jailed for what a judge called his totally disgusting behaviour. Downs, who was then said to have been planning a doctor's visit to seek libido-suppressing drugs, was arrested on February the 18th this year after he was seen to be up to his old tricks again in a field by the Bude Park area of Bransholm.
Now,
no idea where Bransholm is.
I'm sorry, that's a truck going by. The windows are open because it's fucking hot for once in England today. But just playing devil's advocate, if he's wanking near a horse,
yeah,
he's not touching the horse. He's not wanking on the horse, he's just wanking near the horse. There's nobody around, is there people
I think this is the point he's been spotted doing.
I was going to say, if no one's there, just playing devil's advocate. Not saying that I've wanked off near horses, sheeps.
Not even near sheep.
Okay. I'm familiar with a sheep.
Stop trying to make excuses.
I do have Welsh blood. And no one sees him. Is it a crime?
Well, no, if a tree falls in the forest, does anyone around to hear it? Anyone around to hear it sound, isn't it? It's like,
if a man spaffs on a horse,
if a man spaffs in the woods and there's no one there to see him, is he really spaffing in the woods?
He is spaffing in the woods.
Yeah, he is. But
is the masturbating a prelude to something else?
That's it. I mean, first it's masturbating, then it's escalation. Before you know it, he's arm deep in a cow.
Well. Worst ways to spend a Saturday morning in the countryside.
Fisting a couple of pigs.
2! Oh, you greedy bugger.
A pig on each arm up to the elbow. like you're holding some 2 pig machine guns in your hands.
You're presuming you could pick up an entire pig. Yeah. Wouldn't it be more like being dragged around?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Through the shit and the swill.
Trying to swallow as much of it as you can. Oh, I'm so horny.
A member of the public saw him. The member of the public was 200 yards away and initially thought Downs was urinating. Prosecutor Neil Coxon told Hull Crown Court it soon became clear he was in fact masturbating. This activity went on for 3 or 4 minutes. His penis was exposed for 10 minutes. The matter was reported to the police and the defendant was arrested. Interviewed that day, Downs told officers, "I was sat on a bench. I was feeling sexy, so I started to... ... quote. Mr. Coxon said, asked if he realised it was an offence, he said yes. Down said he knew what he was doing was wrong and said he didn't do it to draw attention to himself and he was sorry. Can't stop himself, apparently.
Wow.
He was charged and released on bail, but within 24 hours was seen by an off-duty police officer, female police officer, doing the same thing in the same area. Well, you don't go back to the scene of the crime.
That man really likes horses.
You don't go back to the scene of the crime, though, do you? For fuck's sake, go somewhere else and do it.
That's serious addict behaviour, though, man. Like,
of course it is.
24 hours, less than 24 hours later, after just being released, you'd think you'd be thankful you'd been released. Like, oh, thank fuck, but no, I'm so excited that I'm free. I'm going to go wank near a horse again. The same one.
And the worst of it is you're getting spotted by an off-duty police officer.
What's the chances?
What are the chances? What are the chances?
Because she's bound to have heard about him. That's bound to go around the station,
of course
isn't
it is. Yeah, everyone knows about that. Hey, what horse wanker?
Oh dear.
Yeah. So...
Well, stay away.
Stay away from horses if you've got a problem like that.
Yeah, just Google horses and...
Just give the man the internet.
Exactly, just look at videos of horses and do it at home.
He doesn't have to sign up.
That's it. He won't have to sign up, he's just looking at livestock.
Oh, MacDonald had a farm. I'd love it.
We're all in agreement that he's just a dirty old bastard then.
Yeah.
Libido suppressing drugs, so 61 and he's having to take drugs to keep his dick down.
I think chuck him off a cliff. To be honest, drop him out of a plane. I don't know.
Would it be too much of a leap to say that he's probably also done some other very taboo things?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not a positive member of society, is he?
No.
Push him off a cliff.
Over in a van. It's your usual solution to everything.
Might seem a little extreme now, but you'll thank me later.
The horses will.
So who wants the next one?
Go on then. Top secret government investigation probed health effects of UFO encounters.
Everyone else saw arse.
Well.
A top secret US government research program allegedly investigated the health effects of close encounters with UFOs. The classified study was called the Advanced Aerospace Threat and Identification Program and investigated mysterious aircraft or other unexplained phenomena.
Wow.
Sorry.
Official documents reveal that investigators studied exotic technologies including wormholes, anti-gravity, invisibility, cloaking, warp drives and high-energy laser weapons.
That's pretty swish.
Star Trek?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exotic technologies. Ooh.
Lilt-powered tanks.
I want to see a lilt-powered flying saucer now. The totally tropical taste.
Yes, for the international listener, it is a can of pop available in England that is, like Ben just said, has a totally tropical taste.
Apparently.
Yeah. Love me. Oh, I'd murder a can of lilt, you know.
Oh no, I'll have a beer in a minute.
Yeah.
Good luck on the beer. That's got a totally tropical taste.
Bit of vodka in the lilt.
Yeah.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. Sorry, what else is happening then, Mike?
Details of 38 papers published during the ATIP probe
Yeah.
were released last year, although only a handful of the actual documents have been released to the public. One of the studies was called Field Effects on Biological Tissues.
I left a few biological tissues before.
In hedgerows.
Scummed up under the bed.
by sheep.
Sorry.
Pope told Metro the statement is confirmation that the Pentagon's ATIP program looked not only at UFOs but also at close encounters and alien abductions.
That's Nick Pope, who used to work for the MOD, not the Pope.
Right. Okay.
Pope's not getting involved in ATIP.
Thank you for the clarification, because I was confused.
That's Nick Pope, the former UFO investigator of the MOD.
Right.
He said, I can't prove it, but from sources close to this, I'm almost certain that part of this work involved getting blood and DNA samples from close encounter witnesses, including at least one and maybe two witnesses to the UK's infamous Rendlesham Forest incident.
Ooh. Future episode.
Wow, never heard of it.
I think I have mentioned it before.
Yeah. I believe this was done in a way that disguised the fact that this was for a US intelligence program, with witnesses being told that they were participating in a scientific or academic study.
You bend over and watch this creepy sexist man put his probe in your arse.
Wow. What do you think? Any weight to this?
Well, I suppose if they're investigating... Look, Louis Elizondo's showing up.
Yeah.
Who's he?
He's the guy that works with guy from Blink-182, isn't he? He was behind it. He was the guy who was speaking about the Pentagon leaks. Elizondo used to work for the DOD, didn't he?
But isn't everything they say bollocks?
No.
Is it unprovable, everything they say, then, to be more fair?
It's unprovable.
So it's bollocks?
No. They just haven't got the... but they're saying here that this is a document that's been released.
Who's saying? Someone who used to work for somebody?
This is obviously a document of some kind.
He says.
He worked for the DOD, didn't he?
Yeah.
So?
Nick Pope's on board.
I worked for McDonald's once. I can't make you a Big Mac.
Why the fuck not?
I've got the stuff. Just like he hasn't got the stuff. He said himself.
He's got a word processor and a printer. What else do you want?
He said himself, I can't prove it. Well, why not? Popey.
Don't ask me.
Sorry, that just sounded a bit aggressive. I just
and don't call me the Pope. Not the Pope.
Well, get him off your knees then. Get that silly little hat.
It's just trying to pray all the time, shouldn't I? There was I was allegedly investigated the health effects of close encounters with UFOs. Allegedly.
Is there any more to the article, Mike?
That's it, pretty much, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, they're bound to be at some level definitely looking into wormholes and all that sort of weird shit, aren't they? Somebody somewhere in some department.
Yeah, of course they are.
You know, all jokes aside. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, actually, to be fair. I was just taking the piss because it's funny.
Yeah.
So I know the ufologists take it all very seriously.
Oh, they do.
Oh, yes. As we found out. When we were told we were just a disgrace to our own nation.
And I like to think that we're quite open-minded towards UFOs. Well, I am.
Yeah, I am too. I just like winding you up. The same way you guys troll me with AI stuff and driverless cars. You know, I troll you about UFOs. Because you're all mad.
Kelly Hopkinsville.
Right, what's next? Shall I read one?
Yeah, go on.
World's most dangerous bird kills owner after attacking him when he fell over at a Florida home. Oh, he's quite old. A 75-year-old man has been killed by the large flightless bird he kept at his home in Florida. Police found the man badly wounded by the, does anyone know how to say the name of the bird?
Cassowary?
Yeah. Which has 4-inch dagger-like claws. It's a raptor.
Fucking pretty much.
When they were called to his property on Friday, the bird had attacked the man after he fell over. The victim, named as Marvin Hajos, was taken to hospital by paramedics, where he later died from his injuries.
Wow.
Cassowaries are known as the world's most dangerous bird, according to San Diego Zoo. San Diego.
Whale's vagina.
Alachua County, or Alachua, I'm not sure, County Sheriff Department said the man was probably injured by the bird's claws.
No shit.
Shit, Sherlock. Police are investigating the incident, but say initial information suggests that it was a, quote, tragic accident.
My thing is with this, right, if you're a 75-year-old man, presumably living alone, you're keeping
With
a
your big
large
bird.
flightless bird, which is the most dangerous on the world. It's got
Was he wanking next to it?
Maybe that's what the bird killed him. Got the spunk in his tail.
You bastard, fuck up.
It's got raptor claws. Like, if you fall over and can't get back up, that bird's eating you.
Maybe it's a
that
bit
bird's
like,
killing you.
Yeah, like maybe.
I wouldn't take the risk.
You know, like if you die and your cat's locked in the house with you, after a couple of days it'll start eating you.
Yeah.
Maybe it just saw the guy go down and it was like, oh, he's dead. Even though he wasn't, it just, like you said, just natural thing kicked in. That's mine now. Eat that.
I mean, I think the bird's big, but I don't think it hunts humans.
Well, no, that's why you're waiting for him to fall down. It was like, oh, sucks for you that you're on the floor, old man. I gutted him.
Yeah, could be.
It's nasty though, isn't it?
Or maybe it just was just like,
Just don't
fuck
keep
you, old
one.
man. You've kept me locked up here, cooped up. I should be out in the plains running about. I'm fucking cooped up here. Fucking have that. Kick him when he's down.
I want to know if the bird had a name. They
Um,
haven't named the bird, and I find it a bit disturbing.
probably something like
A bit sad.
Caroline. Killer. Well, that's what you get when you live with the world's most dangerous bird.
Very true.
Knob. Mr. Hajar, or whatever your name was. Sorry, I'm joking. No disrespect to his family, of course.
So is that the weird news for now?
It is.
Right then, we'll call a quick break, and then we'll go on with the main thrust of today, which is Jill Dando.
We'll smash Jill Dando.
Gave me a thrust.
Well,
Not now.
Not now, obviously. But,
no, we're going to do this professionally. Come on.
I'm the most professional one here. Look, I had to pull you all through the Jimmy Savile episode.
Oh, God.
Be careful how you say that.
No, I wasn't fluffing you.
None of us are excited by that episode, we must point out for the record.
Look, I had to drag you guys kicking and screaming for the Jimmy Savile episode, and I was being professional, and you two were trying to turn it into some kind of... Well, I don't even know.
Look, fuck him. Fuck you. We're the most professional. And don't you need to go for your week?
Yeah, Right, so let's move on to Jill Dando. So on the 26th of April 1999, a golden girl at British TV was found outside her front door. The keys to her BMW still in her hand and a single bullet wound to her head. The hunt for whoever killed Jill Dando will become the biggest murder inquiry conducted by the Metropolitan Police and the largest criminal investigation since the hunt for the Yorkshire Ripper.
Does anybody remember it?
I do.
I do.
The year we left school. wasn't it?
Vaguely.
I more remember the aftermath and the Barry George. All that. We'll
See,
get into that
I
later.
don't remember that bit.
I remember his name's burned into me. Actually, it was just in the news constantly for a long time, around the time of the trial and stuff.
Oops, sorry.
And then again when he was later released, but we're getting ahead, aren't we? But I do remember it, yes, at the time.
So this would involve the taking of 2,400 statements, the tracing of 1,200 cars, and the investigation of 2,000 potential suspects.
It's a lot, innit?
Too right. Imagine the paperwork on that.
Yeah. Imagine the board, the string.
Oh, man, you need an entire
me.
fucking conference room, wouldn't you? Thought my room was bad enough when we did Roswell and Chapter.
It would look like a BDSM wet dream, like, wouldn't it?
Wow.
Your body's lost in there.
So, on the fateful morning, Jill returned home to her house in Fulham, where she wasn't living full-time.
Which I think is key.
Well, as Dando was about to put her key in the lock to open the front door, she was grabbed from behind, and with his right arm, the assailant held her and forced her to the ground, so her face was nearly touching the floor, the tiled step of the porch. Then, with his left hand, he fired a single shot at her left temple. The bullet entered her head just above her ear, parallel to the ground, and came out of the right side of her head. Police were called at 11:47. Dando was taken to the nearby Charing Cross Hospital, where she was declared dead on arrival at 13:03.
Yeah, you ain't surviving that, are you?
No.
If you do, you're on life support and you're not capable of anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? People have survived bullets through the brain, haven't they? But
They have.
much of.
They don't go on to
Not
lead
many.
rich and full lives, just that way.
Not many do.
Without, yeah, I know what you're saying. It's pretty much 9
Yeah.
out of 10 you've
Yeah.
fucking gone, aren't you?
Mm.
I mean,
isn't it more when you try and shoot yourself in the head, people fuck it up?
Yeah, they do a lot
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, they do it a lot. Even putting a gun in their mouth, that sometimes they'll blow through their cheek or they'll miss a spinal column or something.
That's what people say happened to Gary Webb, isn't it? But I think we concluded that it's probably a CIA double tap.
Yeah.
More than likely.
So yeah.
Well, this
Jill.
was an execution, wasn't it?
Oh god, yeah. Like,
Whoever committed it, yeah, it's not that's execution style, isn't it? Forced it down.
forcing it down to the ground significant actually, because there's less sound apparently.
Body won't drop.
Yeah, the body's not dropping. You're not getting a lot of blood splatter, and apparently it's just it's quieter. Pistol's right against her head's against the ground.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you still got to hear a gunshot going on.
And
I'm
that's
saying that the
key.
witness here, her neighbour, didn't fucking hear a gunshot.
He heard her scream, didn't he? But he didn't hear a gunshot. And
Yeah.
He was the next door neighbour, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he actually said he heard a surprised cry like someone greeting a friend before the scream. So did she know her killer?
Well, if you think about it, let's think about it. Let's say she's just walking up the steps, completely, mind's focused on, I'm going to put the key in the door, you know. Someone grabs you from behind. You're not necessarily going to go like, ah, terrified. You might be like, ah, a cry of, you know.
Yeah.
And he was hearing it through a wall, he didn't see it, so it might not have sounded like what it was. And this would have been quick, wouldn't it? I mean, he's not going to spin around and be like, you know, he fucking pushed her down to the ground.
Oh, it's one movement, isn't it? For him, it's what, two movements. He's pushed her down, the hand's already coming out, put the pistol against her head and fire.
That's what I'm saying.
He knows what he's doing about this is.
You know,
that's what I think.
Oh, me too. And the left-hand thing's curious as well.
Don't get many left-handed shooters, actually.
I was thinking about that when you said it earlier, because if I wasn't left-handed and I needed my right arm to push her down, I wouldn't be confident in my left hand to do anything, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's either a left-handed person or someone who's very well, someone who's confident enough to shoot it with their left hand.
I'd miss. Even point blank.
Point blank. I'm sure I would fuck it up somehow with my left hand. Might not even be able to pull the trigger.
Actually, there's also a very good reason why you don't get left-handed shooters. That's because all cartridge cases come out to the right.
Oh, yeah.
So you just hit yourself in the face every time.
So that's what I'm saying. Maybe it was simply just a left-handed person.
Yeah.
Or someone who's proficient enough to shoot with their weaker hand because it was easier because of the way she was.
Ambidextrous
position. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, this is what I look at it. She's on the ground, he's over her. The pistol's against her skull. You can't miss that. Even with your left hand, you can't miss that.
Oh, fair enough.
Remember, you've done this 1,000 times before, probably. Well, maybe not 1,000. You've done it before. This is your job. You're a professional hitman.
And we should also it's very important, I think, because the neighbour didn't hear a gunshot, and we also know that there was one bullet fired, and from the casing that was recovered, it was, you might have to go into detail a bit more on this, Ben, but it was clipped with a bolt cutter somehow, or pliers, ever so slightly, to get some of the gunpowder out, so it would make less of a, am I right? Less of a noise.
Less of a noise, less of an impact, but at the range
but
he knew
he was going to be. He knew it was going to be point blank, so he didn't need that. So he knew this was a thought out thing. He knew where he was going to do it. I don't need to shoot from distance. I'm going to get right up to her.
Yeah.
And I want barely any sound because I want to just get the fuck out of there. Yeah. Does that sound like just your basement dwelling?
Doesn't sound
lunatic?
Like the guy they think did it.
No.
That's the cat.
Because he was quite, as we'll get into later, quite low IQ, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and
wasn't
this
he,
to me shows a level of thought.
He was in the Territorial Army though.
Well,
he was shown how to he was shown how to use rifles and machine guns and things like that apparently.
Okay.
But at the same time, he's not going to be that proficient where he's clipping bits off bullet cases and that kind of thing. Ironically, I was in the reserves with a guy who actually killed a teenage girl.
Wow.
You remember that
On
girl?
purpose?
Yeah.
What?
He wasn't in jail for murder.
Oh no, he's in jail for murder now. He did it after he left.
Oh, for fuck's sake! You probably should have said that. Yeah. So I was thinking, fuck me, they'll let anyone in the
Is
TA.
it a fucking dirty dozen?
Yeah,
all cutthroats and murderers.
He was leaving just as I was joining.
Right.
And I knew him. I spoke to him a few times. And then I saw that he'd killed this 13-year-old girl in a churchyard in our hometown. I was like, fuck, I know him.
Oh, shit. You didn't see the signs back in the TA?
I didn't. I'd met him a couple of times. I didn't know him. He was leaving as I was joining. So
I think you got to be a bit psychotic to join the TA.
Well, the less said about that, the better, I think. Genuinely, there were some scarily weird people.
Of course there were.
I mean, no, I'm the one saying they're weird, Gaz.
Well, that's rich.
I bet most of these, they couldn't get in the army. Failed the sight test.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I never really had to do a sight test.
No, you can't join with a swastika on your forehead, mate. We can't have that.
What?
TA you go, off to the TA.
I have to have a background check and do all the official secrets act, but I don't recall anyone ever giving me a sight test.
Just a severe spanking. Sorry, I don't know where that came from.
No, that was frowned upon. Hashtag me too.
Take any nutter in the SAS, and the SAS they wouldn't. Well, the TA they wouldn't.
Anyway, this guy Richard Hughes is a next door neighbour.
Right.
He then looked out his window and he made the only certain sighting of the killer, a 6 foot tall white male aged around 40 walking away from Dando's house.
And we know how unreliable eyewitness. I mean, you saw him for a few seconds. It's not much detail.
To the side probably as well. You got a bit of a profile and that's it, haven't you?
And he thought, didn't he, it was somebody that she knew just calmly, who just said hello to her at the doorstep and calmly just walking on by, doing his business. But no, he was apparently a very low IQ,
bit of a loner,
scruffy weirdo called Barry George, who I'm sure we'll get to. That's the official.
He had got previous though.
Not for shooting people,
not
but
for
he used to
follow
follow women
and
apparently.
things like that. I mean,
this is what I think's quite important to it. The only reason she'd moved in with her fiance, and the only reason she was going back to this address this shows how 90s it was to check the fax machine. Because obviously, business thing, people will be contacting her. And you can see on the CCTV footage, she stops off somewhere, picks up it's either some paper or some print or some ink for the fax machine. And they've studied that footage that exists, because you can trace quite a bit of her journey back, and they don't think that they can see anyone tailing her or following her. But so this is a random journey back to the house. It wasn't a regular. So was somebody sat there staked out for weeks on end thinking, well, she'll come back eventually, or was somebody following her? And it's weird, isn't it? It's the first time she's been back there in a while.
I think more than likely staking the house out.
Yeah, maybe. So that guy, but nobody. Oh, there's spottings of. Well, there isn't there like hundreds of different people saying different things about people they saw in the street that day? It's a very long, straight street, isn't it?
How many witnesses did I say statements? 2,400 statements. 2,000 potential suspects.
And if it's a pro, they're not gonna be really
there
obvious.
There weren't 2,000 witnesses though, was there?
It says they took 2,400 statements.
Yeah, but that's not witnesses.
No.
But that's probably people that were in the street that day who saw her in the shop. But what I'm saying is, if it was a pro, you're not going to obviously notice him hanging around, staking the place out, are you? Because he's a military trained, government agent.
Well, for all they know, they've rented the house opposite. He's just been sat there in a blacked out fucking room.
How often, going about your daily business, do you notice things?
I've told you this, an experience I have regularly. The other day, it was a castle. I looked up and saw a castle. I drive along this road once a week. I have done for 10 years. Looked up to the other side, the opposite side I would normally look, and was like, there's a fucking castle there. Only a small one, to be fair, but my point is, you don't notice shit, man, until you know you're looking for it. So yeah, it was a fucking perfectly executed killing, wasn't it?
Yeah. You couldn't wish for better. If you've paid this man your money to kill her, that's money well spent, in my opinion. He's done the job, minimum fuss, and no one will ever catch him or trace you to it.
And I think we should also, do you think we should say a little bit for the international listeners, particularly our stateside guys, a bit more about who she actually is, because she was the presenter of the news, the live 6 o'clock news, which is a big deal. At the time, in 1999, people did have Sky TV, but it was very expensive and not that common. So most people only had the 4 or 5 channels, so millions of people saw her present the news.
Yep.
She then did a more light-hearted programme called Holiday, which was about holidays and foreign destinations, and then a programme called Crime Watch, where they, how do you describe it?
They ask you to narc on people.
Yeah, they basically ask, it's like public appeals on crimes, and they try and solve crimes by appealing to the public. And it got millions and millions of viewers. And she was kind of the BBC's golden girl at the time. She was set to be presenting the Millennium coverage, which at the time would have been the biggest TV event, probably ever.
In the history of TV.
Yeah. So she was prime. She was, unfortunately didn't get to do it, but she was basically their go-to girl. She was the face of the BBC, and I heard in all the documentaries I watched, and that behind the scenes she was beloved, and and this might be important later on, a lot of people went to her with their problems and felt comfortable confiding in her and talking to her, particularly female employees.
She might have ended up being one of the bosses one day, and
she was...
You don't know.
Just everything was going for her. She'd finally got engaged, and they were planning to have a baby apparently, and she was 30-something, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So, she was not leaving it late, I guess, but, she'd wanted that for a long time, but never met the right bloke. She was not the sort of person, is what I'm trying to get to, that you expect to be executed in the street.
No.
Not a random killing, I don't believe. Fucking executed in the street.
Well, she was executed. I mean, whether it's at random or not is what it's debate, isn't it?
And she was beautiful, bubbly, I guess. She was just fucking decent. She was kind of middle,
wasn't she? So she was in prime of her life, like.
That's it.
So she was kind of middle class, I would say, as well. Not like uppity posh. Like, she was just good stock. But one of the, she was. Like, because that street the house she was going to, apparently, I don't know if this is today or even back then, 99, those are £1 million houses down there. It's a terraced street, but because of where it is in London, those properties are millions of pounds each.
Well, terrace houses on there, so, 3 stories. And
this ain't no, because it's quite a terraced street, more or less. I mean, But yeah, expensive as fuck. She was doing well. Everything was going for her.
Absolutely. But then, after massive investigation, little progress had been made. And public on the backs as well, remember? Who killed Jill Dando? Who killed her?
Everyone wanted to know.
Yeah. Why haven't you got anyone? This is a fucking high-profile killing. Why haven't you got anybody?
Yeah. One of the most famous people in the country at the time, basically.
Yeah.
Just got popped on her doorstep. And why? People want to know. Of course they did.
So the police focused their efforts on the attention of a certain Barry George, who lived half a mile from Dando's house. Now, he had a history of stalking women, sexual offences, and other antisocial and attention-seeking behaviour.
He was to follow women, didn't he?
Yeah. He was arrested on the 25th of May and charged with Dando's murder on the 28th, so they had 3 days to get what they wanted out of him.
I think he had learning difficulties.
Yeah, he was very, very low IQ.
Yeah.
Apparently. They did tests on him for the trial. Oh, fuck, I wish I'd written it down, but there's like a actual technical specification for what he is. Like,
Well,
there's simple tasks that he couldn't do that we would find simple, because we're above average intelligence, dear chap.
strange how he could strip and assemble an assault rifle, though, isn't it?
Well, you don't have to be a genius to be a soldier, do you?
Well, no, that's true.
A grunt like you were. I'm joking. You're officer class, Ben, don't you? Officer
I was
material.
never a Rupert.
If ever I've seen it.
I was an NCO, so
I don't know what that means, but
Yeah,
I'm
well.
sure it was good.
Quartermaster Sergeant.
the end, yeah.
That means you look after shit, doesn't it?
When I
Like,
left,
Q!
yeah.
James Bond, see, I know stuff.
Yeah.
So you could have got me an exploding pen.
No.
Oh.
Could have maybe got you a grenade.
That's even better.
I'd have been arrested immediately.
I mean, I
I'd
can't
known
draw
about
with it, but I can chuck it at people.
George was tried at the Old Bailey, convicted on the 2nd July 2001, was sentenced to life in prison. However, concern about the conviction was widespread as the case against him seemed thin, and he was eventually acquitted on the 1st of August 2008. They let him go. Wrong bloke, sorry.
But what is fucking interesting, and it's up to you guys to maybe discuss if you think it's dodgy or not, the police still treat him as guilty.
Yeah.
He's not been able to get compo. He did 8 years
Yeah.
in prison, think about it, and was then acquitted, completely acquitted of the crime.
Yeah.
You'd think he's due millions in compo.
Fucking think so, wouldn't you?
They refuse, because they state, as far as they're concerned, they still believe he is guilty of that crime and they're not looking for anyone else.
Wow.
What a silly situation
Yeah,
that
so
is.
how can you go to court and a jury and a judge literally sit there and go, you know what, case against him is thin, we don't think he's done it.
Yeah, completely acquitted. The only compo he's ever managed to get was from a couple of newspapers, and I'm not sure how much he got. Government have completely refused.
Yeah, shocking.
Miscarriage of
8
justice, isn't it?
years, it's almost a decade of the man's life, and I'm sure he probably wasn't treated the best in prison.
No.
You killed Jill Dando, you cunt. Weirdo.
Unless, of course, they'd have been locked up by a Crime Watch show.
Well, yeah, then they might have high-fived him. Good on you, mate. Yeah, it's fucked. No compo. No compensation, sorry, I'm talking in slang.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it?
Something's going on. So don't you think it's dodgy that they won't look into? Surely you should say, okay, like you just, I guess, touched on, Ben. So the court, an official court, everything above board has said there's not enough evidence on him to convict him of it. Shouldn't you then, as the force, go out and look again?
Yeah, that's your job, isn't it?
But no, they've said, no, we think it's him. It's not him then, is it? Because a jury, I mean, sometimes they get things wrong, okay, it's not a perfect system, but, you know.
Oh, it's just daft. I mean, you got
wasn't
the
him.
wrong bloke.
In the eyes of the law, he's innocent.
And should we get into, you've probably got it in your notes, yeah, exactly, he is officially, legally innocent.
Yeah, gets a bit of paper and everything.
Yeah, they got him on the fact that there was one particle of gun residue
Yeah.
in
Gunpowder
the pocket,
residue.
gunpowder residue, yeah, in the pocket of his coat. That was what they convicted him on. Now, during the 8 years he was in prison, the law changed because science progresses and you learn more. And on the documentary I saw, the way they explained it was, they basically, in London, you've got kind of a 1 in 100 chance, if you go on public transport, of picking up one particle of gunpowder.
Makes sense, I suppose.
Because it only takes one person who's fired a firearm to touch something, you know how things pass on. Because one particle is fuck all, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's
Right.
microscopic,
Yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Now, the police who went and arrested him were armed police.
Yeah.
The guys who went into his home. Guns had been in his home. Men who fire guns had
Yeah.
been in his home. At one part, there's no way of proving how it got there. And I'm no scientist, but wouldn't you think if you fired the gun, then put it directly into your pocket, still warm, there's going to be a bit more than one particle?
Yeah, well, if it's washed, maybe.
Oh, good point.
But
how often are those police overalls washed?
Yeah.
The thing is about that particle is they said it matched the firearm. There's only 5 different types.
Yes, I did see this doc.
So there's a 20% chance that it's going to be the same.
Yeah. So it's nothing. It's flimsy as fuck.
Yeah.
And the guy, and he was a bit of a fibber because I watched his police interview in that documentary. Have you ever held a firearm? No. Have you fired one? No. Well, there was photographs of him in his flat posing with guns. Whether they were real or not, I don't know. Which I admit might look dodgy. But I genuinely don't think...
But that doesn't prove guilt.
No, it doesn't prove guilt at all. No, you're right, you're bang on. And I think if the case wasn't so flimsy, he'd still be inside, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I used to think he's a patsy.
Of course he is, yeah.
Because that was the only evidence. No witness said they saw him specifically. It was all down to that one particle.
Yeah. And isn't it classic police, basically, like, it's a difficult crime we can't solve, arrest the local weirdo.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's pretty much the same in every country, isn't it?
Arrest the local weirdo who can barely defend himself, we'll pin it on him, piece of piss, we'll get him to confess.
Yeah.
Easy.
And
I
it
don't know
is,
if he ever did.
especially if they want to deflect the guilt.
Of course, and someone else.
Yeah.
And a good quote I heard, I mean it is a bit conspiracy theory-ish because I watched a lot of those videos, but basically if a state-sanctioned crime happens, the state is not going to allow its own employees who are the force to then solve it, are they?
No.
It's just never going to happen.
And anyone that does get too close is just going to get warned off.
And I believe that anyone who thinks state-sponsored murder doesn't happen is fucking off their head, man.
Oh, yeah.
Off their head. The wrong people who say the wrong things and get too close to things definitely get fucking popped off. Of course they fucking
heads of state have been popped off.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, like, the amount of coups that go on who are backed by
Americans,
other
like,
states.
and we help them, they go and install new fucking governments here, there and everywhere. Anyway, my point is, what was my point? It wasn't him. I don't believe it was him for a second.
No.
And the evidence, the jury agreed with us. We all are in agreement here, aren't we?
Yep.
And I think the general public, because I got from the documentaries, they said, because I do remember it being in the news constantly, that name, Barry George, that the general public seemed to believe he was innocent as well. And the groundswell was sort of on his side, like, just your average general public putting 2 and 2 together, like, and isn't that dodgy that then, but the police force are sticking to their guns? No. And in that, there was what brought this onto our radar again was there's a recent BBC documentary that was put on like 2 weeks ago. It's 20 years since the murder. And in that documentary, it had the head lead investigator from the case being interviewed today. And he's still sticking to his guns. It's
of course
Barry.
he is. He ain't going to admit to making a mistake, is he? He's going to damage his career.
I think he's retired now.
Yeah, might get his pension
But he's
cut.
still...
Well, I'll tell you what happened to him.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hamish Campbell.
There's a little bit on an article here. It says, a veteran of the Metropolitan Police Criminal Intelligence and Anti-Terrorist branches who joined the force in 1974, Mr. Campbell has often been described as one of Scotland Yard's brightest stars. The high flyer, who was promoted to senior investigating officer just months before the Dando killing, was clearly stung by suggestions he was not trying hard enough to apprehend the culprit.
He's also awaiting another promotion.
Yep. And in 2010 he got on the New Year's Honours list.
Hey, good for him.
He's a solid team player, isn't he?
Of course he is.
He's one of the boys, isn't he?
He's one of the guys who's probably planning the fucking no-deal Brexit scenario, police on the streets and martial law, isn't he? He's doing what they say, following the line.
He's secret hand shook and super sucked his way up the ladder, isn't he?
And now he's in charge of Madeleine McCann.
Oh, fuck. Well, he's doing a fucking great job there.
Yeah.
This bloke's fucking useless.
Yeah. That's
Fuck
it, mate.
now.
He gets promotion
If I
for failing to find the Jill Dando killer.
Right, my job is to deliver parcels, right? Imagine if I didn't deliver any parcels. I just didn't deliver them. Do you think I'd still have my job? He hasn't solved anything, the fucking useless twat. Why has he still got a job?
And he's definitely...
Well, he solves the ones they want him to
that's
solve, doesn't he?
So is he going to find Madeleine McCann or not?
Should we talk about how it's all very ancestral, this stuff, and it's uncomfortable? It could be nothing, but I think it's too much of a coincidence. Jill Dando's fiance is now the royal gynecologist, so he's well in the circle, isn't he?
Yeah.
Come on. Do you think he, all along, basically never loved her and he was a stooge? He was... Basically, he's the one that got them on the inside. Maybe he popped her.
Or certainly maybe gave them
they got something over him.
She's going to be going to her house later on. But this time she's going to her house.
Because he offered to marry her very quickly and told her, oh, we'll have the baby.
He was a bit older than her as well, wasn't he? I'm sure he was like good 10 years on her.
And he's in with the royals, which means he goes to that place where that Marshall geezer...
Donald Marshall, yeah.
Right? He's one of them who goes and beats the shit out of a clone.
Who can say?
Who writes amazing pop songs. Please see our Donald Marshall episode for more information. Or just Google him. But don't blame me when you read it all.
So, let's have a look at potential suspects and lines of inquiry then, yeah?
Okay.
Theories that a jealous ex-boyfriend or unknown lover had killed her. Quickly ruled out by detectives who interviewed all of her friends and acquaintances and checked her phone calls. That one's like, we interviewed all her friends and acquaintances. Do you know all of her friends and acquaintances?
I suppose...
Every single one?
I get what you're saying, but wouldn't it be hard? Because even then we had mobiles and they could track all, see her call records. It's pretty hard to have a secret lover that you don't communicate with.
That's true enough, unless they're leaving holes in walls. Unless using holes in walls.
Or maybe they were uber careful about it and didn't text or email each other or fax.
Yeah?
Maybe it purely was... Maybe it was because it was somebody famous, wasn't it? No, because then he wouldn't shoot her, would he? I don't know.
Either way, it was ruled out. Had someone hired an assassin to murder Dando as revenge for their conviction as a result of evidence from Crime Watch?
Yes, remember, international listeners, she presented a show which sole reason for being was to solve crimes with the help of the public. So she probably, in a way, responsible for putting some people in prison.
Made a lot of enemies, I think.
Well, I think anyone that does that kind of show is going to make enemies, aren't they?
There's two sides to it, you see, because I think, yes, that is a possibility. It was something to do with Crime Watch, but I think it's more possibly, there's a possibility that it was because she was kind of the figurehead of the BBC.
Yeah.
It was a symbolic killing, which I know we're going to get into with one of the articles later, because maybe she knew something, which we're going to cover as well. Maybe she had some information, because there were some dodgy things at the BBC that they didn't want getting out there. But maybe it was because she represented the BBC. She was kind of the face of the BBC, their golden girl, as it were. So maybe it was a symbolic thing as a fuck you to the BBC or to Britain as a whole.
And to the police
as
well. Also remember that, I don't know, I didn't look at this, they carry Crime Watch on after this.
Oh yeah. They had to report on Jill Dando's murder on Crime Watch.
They did,
Is Crime Watch still on?
No,
no idea.
Is it?
Is it? Well, I don't ever fucking at home, to be fair, to watch it.
People don't watch regular TV
No,
much anymore. Back in the day, I can't stress enough for the listener, like, if you're young or you weren't around at the time, whatever,
back in day,
there were only 5 channels, man. This was getting watched by millions and millions of people, man. Plus the news, she was famous.
I mean, everyone watched the BBC 6 o'clock news. It was always on.
Man, so famous and fucking executed. So, have you got a bit more in your notes, and then I think we should get into the main theories.
Now, apparently in 2017, a quote hitman did come forward, who claiming he had knew who murdered Jill Dando, but would not reveal who for fear of being killed himself. He claims there are at least another 100 potential suspects that weren't followed up. He also said that no doubt in my mind that Jill Dando was murdered by a professional killer. It was a professional, no doubt about it. The person still at large is very dangerous. Well, no shit, he's a professional killer. He's not a kitten.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we've got various theories relating to Bosnian, Serb or Yugoslav groups in retaliation for NATO actions against media outlets and her own appeals for aid during the Yugoslav wars.
Apparently NATO killed the Serbian version of Jill Dando.
Yeah.
When they bombed...
Didn't we blow up a TV station? NATO blew up a TV station. So it sounds like that's a pretty... So think about it. We bomb your TV station.
You kill
famous people die. So fucking cunts. Well, we can't mount an attack on Britain because our army isn't up to you know, but we could fucking
Got
send
a long
in...
way to go as well, to be
Well,
fair.
yeah, we could send in a fucking undercover guy to whack your most famous bloody presenter. See how you like that?
Bit of tit for tat.
Yeah, that'll fuck with the national psyche a bit. And you killed our Jill Dando.
Yeah.
With a missile, you cowardly bastards. We'll do it with a fucking dodgy homemade
gun.
It's very Serbian, isn't it?
It is. Well, the thing is, though, it's really difficult to get a gun in Britain.
That's a very good point. This is a semi-automatic... Because I was confused about this. I heard some reports say it was a semi-automatic pistol, and then some said it was a reconditioned... Because in this country, a lot of the Americans will be listening to this going, what? Sounds like fucking Neanderthal days, but basically guns are so hard to get that a lot of people on the street will get some sort of air pistol type thing and like fucking budge it and do some homemade shit to it so it fires actual bullets.
Or they get an old gun that's been decommissioned.
Antique fucking thing, right? Yeah. And they're that desperate for guns. So,
or a replica, apparently you can do the replica.
That's
it's a very,
more what I'm
very,
getting
very,
at.
very good replica.
Yeah.
Then you can bodge it around,
recondition it,
do stuff
to it. That's basic, and they're dodgy as fuck.
It would involve you pretty much making all of the breech block though by hand. You'll be able to get that. If it's a really good replica, it'll be basically the outer shell of the pistol and the barrel and everything. So.
Because even if, let's think about it, you send a Serbian agent over here, you can't necessarily just then go and buy a gun somewhere, can he? You know what I mean? It'd be a bit dodgy. Maybe he had to buy some dodgy...
Well, I'm sure there's Serbian gangs and...
Look into it a little bit, actually. Obviously, I mean, yeah, they could have got a gun off the street, but it would have left you with witnesses, wouldn't it? Like, this guy come up to me trying to buy a gun off me.
But those kind of people don't really talk.
What they could have done...
They might have guns at the embassy, actually.
I'm getting to this, hang on. You'll like this. If he was sanctioned by the Serbian government and went through the embassy... Now, he could travel with what is called a diplomatic bag.
Right.
Diplomatic bags do not get searched.
Diplomatic immunity.
Exactly. They don't
Is that actually a thing?
Yeah. That bag does not get searched. And you can send... everyone thinks it's called a diplomatic bag, and everyone thinks, it's just a suitcase or something. It can be a shipping container.
Wow.
And no one can search it, and if they do search it, then complaints go in at governmental level. Why are you interfering in our business? It's a diplomatic thing.
So a Serbian could have quite easily got hold of a gun.
They could have shipped a shitty gun in just to throw people off the case. I mean, it only needs to fire once, doesn't it?
And I love the presumption of the police. In one of the documentaries, he said, they weren't pros. They only had one bullet. How do you know they only fired one? Doesn't mean they only had one, does it? They only needed one because they were pros, you dickhead, and they knew what they were doing.
Kind of the point of being a pro, really. You should only need one bullet.
Jesus
you don't
Christ.
want to running down the street screaming while you wildly unload 13 rounds into the air around you, and they go shit and run away in the other direction. That's not professional.
They didn't send Ray Charles to shoot her.
That's it. Whoever did this knew exactly what the fucking hell they were doing.
There's that desperate, the police who's like, they only had one bullet, they were fucking nobodies, and a shitty gun and one bullet. They only fucking needed one. Dick. Fuck.
Widow, whose journalist husband was shot dead just days earlier, believe that he and Jill were targeted after angering brutal dictator Slobodan Milosevic. Has he been hung yet?
Didn't he play for Aston Villa?
Milosevic did, yeah. I can't remember his first name, but it wasn't Slobodan.
Savo,
that was it. He was quite good, wasn't he? And then
didn't
he get a bit fat and like,
yeah.
Oh, bless him. Sorry, back to the article.
Yeah, so you're going to scroll down a bit, Mike.
This is significant, I feel. A lot of people because this is one of the main two theories, and people put a lot of weight into this one.
Yes.
Because of this.
This is widow Branka Pripa, whose journalist husband was shot dead just days earlier in '99, believes both he and Jill were targeted after angering Slobodan Milosevic. Fresh light has been thrown on the case after sensational new claims by the Serbian widow whose husband was murdered in almost identical circumstances. Branka Pripa was with Slavka Kuruvja when he was shot dead outside their Belgrade home on April the 11th, 1999, just 15 days before Jill was murdered in West London. And in an exclusive interview with The Mirror, A respected historian, Mrs. Preeper, yesterday said that she was convinced the crime watch host was executed by the same Serbian hitman acting on the orders of the brutal late dictator Slobodan Milosevic. They keep saying brutal and dictator a lot in this article. Yeah, we know what a twat he was. You're going to tell me once. I did read the news back then, you know.
Lest we forget, Ben.
I didn't think they killed him, though, yet. He was up for war crimes. He would have been executed. I don't know if he... didn't they done it yet?
I can't remember, to be honest.
No, neither can I. Well, either way, he's a bit of a scumbag, isn't he?
Remember, listener, you were the fact checker.
Yes. So, and her claim gave new weight to a chilling call to the BBC on the morning after her death. It was from a man with a mid-European accent who claimed responsibility. Miss Preeper, whose husband was an outspoken critic of the Serbian regime, said, quote, "I think there's a link between Dando and Karovcha, and they were both executed." She pointed to a number of striking similarities. Both were journalists with high profiles and upset the Serbian regime in differing ways. Both were returning home when they were approaching behind, forced to the ground and shot at close range in the head. Both died instantly, the attacks were over in a matter of seconds, and the killings all carried the signs of professional hits.
Now, if you're the British government...
You're not going to admit you...
you don't want the general public knowing that our beloved Jill Dando was killed by a foreign hitman that we allowed to come in the country under our noses, execute her and fuck off.
Because that then undermines faith in our own security services.
Yes, of course it does. Of course it does. It makes them egg on their face, makes them look utter, you know. If the fucking Golden Girl isn't safe...
Who is?
Who is? In a £1 million apartment, if she can get shot in the head on her doorstep, anyone can. You're not going to want that. That's my theory.
It may work another way though, mightn't it? Propaganda, say...
Oh,
look what they've done to it. They've killed Jill Dando.
We were at war with them, weren't we?
Well, it was a NATO peacekeeping, technically.
I was going to say, did we really need to convince the public, because wasn't he committing genocides and that he was a real evil bastard?
Yeah, but it helps, doesn't it?
I know what you're saying, but I'm not sure if...
I think your argument's valid, but I think this...
It could go both.
I think it undermines our own security services more by allowing that...
I think they'd keep it secret.
I think they wouldn't let on,
But I don't know, that's just my... Because I forgot, we were 16 at the time. We were with NATO, like you say, Ben, but we were basically committing... There was action. We were having action in Serbia, and it was war, wasn't it, I guess?
Yeah, technically, but we were doing more bombing. I know about troops on the ground. In fact, I don't know if there were troops on the ground in the Yugoslav war, but certainly bombing raids.
There's an awesome documentary, Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. He went to Sarajevo while the war was happening, sort of under the radar with a band. This is when he'd left Iron Maiden. He managed to convince a few musicians. They basically had to sneak in over the border. There's shelling happening and stuff, and basically go to a club and play an illegal rock concert for like a couple of thousand young
I'd take
kids.
Some balls, that, doesn't it?
Big balls. Yeah. He had to basically go in the back of a truck, hunker down, and his musicians. And then there's a documentary about it called "Scream for Me, Sarajevo." Awesome. You know how he always in between songs, wherever he's at, I saw him at Donington. Scream for me, Donington.
Yeah.
So man, he's a fucking legend, and he was recently given citizenship for. Now my history and geography is crap, but is Sarajevo still Sarajevo? Or is it one of them ones that's changed names?
No, it's a city, so I think it's
But he's been given citizenship.
So that's why he's against Brexit, because he's for Brexit. Well, he's got EU nationality.
Yeah, he's also rich, but he's still awesome, man. That does take balls, like you said. But anyway, slight detour.
The possibility there was a deranged fan that may have killed her. After she rejected their advances, maybe.
It is a possibility.
Came from her brother, who said that she had become concerned by some guy pestering her, but for some reason that was ruled out.
I mean, it is, we've got to say it is possible, isn't it? I don't think it's likely.
A professional hitman who tried to maybe have sex with her?
I don't think it's likely, but it's definitely possible, isn't it?
It's possible, but like you say...
We say the thing is, we're jumping on the police's train here. When we're saying some weird guy, we're thinking of Barry George bloke. Could have been a billionaire.
Yeah, that's it.
Some rich gangster.
He had to have fun.
Could have been some billionaire. He's trying to get her into bed all the time, and he's fuck it, she won't have me. I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna have her killed. He pays the money for this guy.
Could have been anybody, couldn't it? That's the thing. Well, no, not anybody, because I wouldn't know how to get the gun and do that to the bullet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could learn from someone, but...
Bit on YouTube, mate.
Nobody came forward and said, oh yeah, Barry asked me. You know what I mean? We were down the pub and Barry George, he asked me, oh, if I wanted a gun to make less sound. You know what I mean? He did have gun magazines, but is that the sort of thing they print in official gun magazines?
That's where he's getting them from.
Hey, criminals!
I think if it wasn't a professional with that amount of scrutiny from the police and the media, I think somebody would have dobbed him in.
Unless the police, like we said earlier, if it was a state-sponsored crime, they're never going to solve it, are they?
Well, that's why they perhaps put that Hamish, whatever his name was, Campbell.
In charge, yes, he's their boy.
Yeah.
That's why he's in charge of other things. He's the man who does not solve anything.
Yep. Ironically, fucking now he's in charge of Madeleine McCann.
But he ain't going to solve that either, is he? Let's face
Some
it.
people just fail upwards, don't they?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They just fuck it up.
I mean, I bet the Maddie McCann's case is pretty fucking cushy, to be fair, because you ain't got to do too much. You're never going to find her.
Well, there's a never-ending fund to fucking
Exactly,
pay him,
that's what I
isn't
mean. Do you think just throw some more money into that?
Well, probably. We'll do one day. We're doing we're getting into Maddie because that's one of the rabbit holes.
And rephrase that.
Oh, come on now, dear chap. I went down the rabbit hole on that one significantly. I have been doing it for a while because I've got a friend. Shout out to Nico. He does listen now and then. Who is obsessed with that case and despises the McCanns. And,
you know what, I think sympathy for them, going off on a slight tangent, has really gone down amongst the public. In fact, I don't think your general public...
Everyone thinks they're guilty.
Thinks they're either fucking guilty or they have the other kids taken off them at the very least.
They're either guilty or it's their own fault through negligence.
Yeah. It only seems to be the media and the elites who are supporting them.
And why though? It's really weird. Some guy did try to explain it, but it lost me. It went a bit too conspiracy. Because it is weird that we're given like a top end like lawyer and stuff like that, and like the government suddenly wanting to help this. We'll save that. We'll do Maddie a different day, but that's just a teaser for you.
Absolutely.
Listening. Back to our beloved Jill.
So Dando was living with a fiancée and at this point rarely visited her Fulham home, as we said.
Yeah.
She's just going back to pick the fax machine up and put some new ink in it. It was assumed unlikely a professional assassin would have been sufficiently well informed about Dando's movements, and I say to that bollocks, he's just staking the fucking place out.
He's the one. Surely they would be more likely to know that. That was my point earlier. A random just stalker man. How's he gonna know she's just randomly popped back there? Or is it a massive stroke of luck? He just happened to be there, ready with the gun. No, somebody pro was tailing her without anyone knowing. And there's footage of most of her drive home. We live in, even back then, 1999, the most CCTV'd up country in the world per like square metre or per capita, however they work it out. Well, the official story says there's nobody in the videos tailing her. Maybe there was, and they were that good at it. Maybe they were that good at it that you can't spot them.
Yeah.
Maybe they were right there in the street, in disguise, somehow.
I mean, multiple people doing it. Could have been 3 or 4.
Could have been a team of guys, could have been surveillance. Yep, leave now, get out the car now, she's coming. I don't know.
Or
it's
quite
just
simply could have been in the house opposite. Could have rented it out. Could have rented the front room.
Or could have had a car parked on the corner. As soon as
no
they
one's
see
gonna
her...
notice. That no one's going to notice, because this type of street, it's cars parked bumper to bumper, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a typical
London city
street.
City centre.
They tip off the guy waiting.
Yeah. Easy. Maybe I don't know what the computer technology was like in '99. Maybe they'd hacked into the CCTV system and were tracking her that way. They didn't have to physically tailor. I don't know if they could do that in '99. Maybe that's a bit far-fetched. I don't know. But I firmly believe that the police are contradicting themselves. It goes against common sense, I guess, if I've got any, to think that saying the fact that she was randomly there and someone spotted her means it wasn't professional. The fact that they only had one bullet means it wasn't a professional. No, these things tell me that it
And they shouldn't have such a poor quality gun.
Yeah, well, no, maybe they were trying to put you off the thing, because maybe if they used the fucking Serbian standard issue, official military pistol... Maybe then it's quite easy to track back, well, which armies, surely it shows, like a higher level of professionalism that they used a street gun that they had to get and recondition themselves.
Yeah. And because of all of that, they lean towards the crazed loner idea.
I don't go for it. Neither did the fucking jury.
No. And all it was, it's a profile, isn't it? They've built the profile and they've basically made the profile fit Barry George.
Circumstantial evidence at best.
And if you are getting arrested by armed police, who've all probably recently fired firearms, maybe even that morning, to actually probably would have fired them that morning to zero their weapons on the range to make sure, because everyone's eye relief.
Practicing anything.
Everyone has a different eye relief between where your eye sits and where the rear sight is. People have, longer arms, shorter arms, and people are holding more. So you have to what they call zero your sights. So they probably would have done that before going on the race. They've all fired firearms that morning.
Well, it doesn't matter if they fired it 2 weeks ago.
It could still be on.
The residue. It was one particle.
Or it could have got off the bus.
Like we said, I'm sure the lady said on public transport in London, 1 in 100, which sounds low, doesn't it? But people fire guns.
This is it. People still do own
particles
guns in this
don't
country.
just disappear into the air, do they? As far as I know, like it'll be there on the handrail for, firearms officers get on tubes.
Of course they do.
Buses. This particle could have been, and they
the
went to his
particle
house.
was a year old when they found it.
Oh, could they tell the age? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So as it degrade over time, so they can probably tell what it should have been and where it is now.
I suppose, yeah. It could. Such flimsy, and I'm no scientist, but if you fired it and put it straight in that pocket, wouldn't there be more? Oh, you did say you could have washed it, that's true. But is Barry George the type of person who washes a coat? Who puts their coat in the air unless you've stained it or done a murder? I don't know.
Yeah, but interestingly, the cold case review by the police in 2008 have concluded that she probably was killed by a professional assassin in a hard contact execution. That's the cold case review. That's like probably 4 or 5 coppers who go through this. Probably because they've, I don't know, they're not the, maybe not the best or brightest, or maybe because they've pissed someone off so they get stuck on this kind of stuff.
Or maybe they've been told, look, we don't look into this one. We're not looking for anyone. Barry George did it. The lucky cunt got off. That's the story. We fucking stick to it.
Yeah.
He's not getting no compo because that makes us look more legit, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, we really believe it was him.
There's only 4 or 5 of us saying it was probably the official line. Old Hamish says that it's Barry.
I think, are we getting to the fact, because this is the one I'm going for.
Right, can we call a quick press break
before
we get into that? I'm just going to say that, again, pressing the gun against her head would have silenced the fatal shot and prevented the killer from being spattered with blood, hence you can make a better getaway.
Of course, yeah. I see, I didn't even think of that. Now that shows a level of thinking Barry George, according to the official things, isn't capable of doing. He hasn't got the IQ, he's basically learning difficulties. That's a level of pre-thought, isn't it?
As a sign you've done this before.
Because exactly, you don't want to go and blend in with like the local people then when you're making your getaway, fucking splattered in brain bits, do you? Because he might have had to jump on a bus, probably didn't he?
More
bus
than
or a tube or a car, something. He was thinking about it, wasn't he? I don't want splatter up me. He knew enough to dampen the sound of the fucking bullet.
Yeah.
He pushed it down, he only needed one. Fuck, come on, it wasn't Barry George.
Nah, I don't go for it.
It wasn't some basement dwelling weirdo with like wall-to-wall pictures of Dando just wanking over her constantly. Nah, we'll get into it, because my favourite, well not favourite, but the theory I'm going with is coming up next.
Yes, mine too, so I will put a quick pause in there. Yeah. So, right, let's go back. So, one last theory before we get to our personal favourites, I think, when I speak for all of us.
Yeah.
So it's the IRA revenge killing.
Oh.
Apparently there are around 52,000 documents provided to Barry George's legal team, and there were files revealing a convicted killer who penned a letter from prison claiming he was part of an IRA hit squad that murdered Jill Dando. Senior paramilitaries chose her as a target because of her links to the police through her work presenting Crime Watch.
Well,
the IRA would have known how to do this.
Of course.
Yeah. You know, they were doing this for fun back in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, they killed fucking the Earl of Mountbatten, who's grandfather to Prince George, you know.
Come out, ye black and tans, come out and fight me like a man.
Don't sing that. Don't sing that.
With armoured cars and tanks and guns, they came to take away our sons.
Yes, and they did. Yes, you can sing about it all you want, but they did.
I'm doing it ironically. I do not support the IRA.
Yeah. So they would be able to do that. They were doing it for fun. Go bomb them. For fuck's sake, they blew up the castle in the town next to us.
They did a lot of shit. They managed to set off bombs and do all sorts on our soil. So shoot someone in the head.
When we had the Manchester Arena bombing in this country, the suicide bombing, and people say, "Oh yeah, you know, it's like the IRA," and someone I was saying, "Yeah, hey, the IRA always give you a call to let you know it was going to happen, didn't they?" Like, that doesn't excuse it, though, does it?
And the call was usually about half an hour before, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was like
It wasn't like the
too
day
late to
before.
No, it wasn't a day before. It was like half an hour before it was due to go off.
I suppose at least they did have the sense. That's the difference between like religious things, isn't it? But they had the sense to sort of not be on the bomb when it went off. They'd like leave it somewhere. They knew about timers.
And then there was that big thing in, I'm sure it was, I can't remember what year it was, 86, where they shot and killed about 6 IRA guys in Gibraltar. The SAS did. They're all undercover and ambushed them in the street.
Awesome.
It was pretty cool, actually.
It was cool.
We got in a lot of trouble for that.
Wow. We're awesome.
So.
What do you think? Much likelihood to the IRA one then?
It's just as valid as the Serbian one, isn't it?
I guess so, yeah.
An organisation that has professional hitmen.
Wouldn't it have come out now, though, after the peace process and all that? Yeah.
Well, I guess the guy in prison kind of did, but...
Still probably not something you want being made public.
Is it uber sick? Because it's a bad one. How do you really justify it? Because she didn't have any blood on her hands.
No, she wasn't.
She read some TV appeals. You know, that wasn't her idea, I guess. You know, it's her bosses saying, can you read this appeal? It's your job. You know, which, to get what I'm referring to, listener, is that's what upset, apparently, some of the Serbians, is she did some appeals to raise money, I guess.
Basically doing the old Diana thing, isn't it? Raising money for the children affected by the war.
There you go. But she didn't. She herself, come on, hadn't done anything to warrant a fucking execution.
She wasn't flying strike fighters over Yugoslavia and physically dropping the bombs.
Maybe in her spare time she was.
Well, we'll never know
that.
but like I said, though, she's also a symbol. Maybe it was a trophy killing. You know what I mean? In a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you mean. It was a high prestige target with no security.
A beloved person.
Yeah.
Kind of universally. So, I'm trying. Is there a modern day equivalent of British celebrity that's sort of uber famous and beloved? I guess only one of the, you might say one of the princesses maybe, but people like us couldn't give a fuck about her, could we?
No.
Working class people. Girls seem to like it. No, that's a massive generalisation. Posh middle class.
Gabby Logan, she's a bit of a.
What about
Gary Lineker? Everyone likes him.
What about the bird who does a Sunday morning? The morning, Lorraine Kelly.
Oh yeah, it's like Lorraine Kelly getting shot.
Yeah. Well, she's kind of in a similar vein. She does a lot of TV work. She's pretty much universally loved by everybody. Housewives love her because they're all there in the morning watching her.
There you go.
Well, anyone who's unemployed and they're up at that time is watching her.
I'm wanking every morning.
She's quite fit. Yeah, she. Was this a fuck you by some foreign government? Possibly. Serbian maybe is the most likely. Maybe it's one that we don't even know about. That we'll never know. Maybe we'd pissed off somebody in France. I don't know. They're considered an ally. Maybe we'd pissed off... What year was the first Gulf War? It was in the 90s.
Oh, 91. First Gulf War.
Well, maybe it was a bit of... Somebody finally managed to make their way over from Iraq. And
could have been a bit delayed revenge. Who knows?
Who fucking...
Revenge is a dish best served cold.
There you go. But let's get on to it then. This is the one I'm putting my money on.
So, in 2014, a claim was made that Dando had investigated a paedophile ring at the BBC during the mid-90s and had handed a dossier containing her findings to BBC management, allegedly prompting a revenge attack. Of course, the BBC says it has seen no such evidence to support the claim.
Well, let's unpack it slightly.
Now, we've got an article from David Icke's website.
Thank you, boys.
Why, thank you. I know you like David Icke, so I thought, well, you know what? I'll get that thing. I'll choose that one.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to go for it?
Oh, go on then. Murdered television presenter Jill Dando tried to alert her bosses to a paedophile ring at the BBC involving, quote, big-name stars, claims a former colleague. The friend and retired BBC worker said the late Crime Watch host was told DJs, celebrities and other staff were involved in organised abuse. But the anonymous source says, quote, no one wanted to know. When Miss Dando raised concerns about the alleged ring and other sexual abuse claims at the BBC, she is said to have passed the file on to senior management in the mid-1990s, but they never carried out an investigation. The 37-year-old TV presenter was shot dead, well, we know that, on April 26, 1999. The source said, quote, I don't recall the names of all the stars now and don't want to implicate anyone, but Jill said they were surprisingly big names. I think she was quite shocked when told about images of children and that information on how to join this horrible ring was freely available. Jill said others had complained to her about sexual matters and that some female workmates also claimed they had been groped or assaulted. Nothing had been done and there seemed to be a policy of turning a blind eye. The former colleague said female BBC staff confided in Jill, one of the best-known TV faces of the day, after fronting primetime shows including Holiday and the 6 o'clock news, as well as Crime Watch. Yeah, so I heard that as well in the documentaries, that, imagine it, she's considered a go-to person behind the scenes.
Yeah, she's a big name who's apparently friendly, approachable.
Well, not even on that level, yeah, more on the, never mind her being a big name, to her actual colleagues, she was just a reliable, trustworthy person who you could tell secrets to. And you're a female colleague who's been abused, tried to raise concerns about it and told, shut the fuck up. And this was 20 years ago. You also get wind of the horrific fucking, and I'll get into Mr. Savile in a second and his role in this, right? Jill might be a good person to go to with your concerns, right? Because you need to unload to someone. Jill then hearing this, being a decent person and knowing that she's got, you know, links to Crime Watch and that, like, we solve crimes, this is crimes, I don't care if it's my employees, this shit can't go on. Now.
And also she wanted to be a mom herself, remember?
Exactly.
So...
Now, you might think, well, that's a bit extreme, the BBC executing someone. It might not have been the BBC. Big name celebrities. Now, Mr. Savile, some people have suggested, was a bit of a fucking pimp for the famous and the uber powerful, including some royals, allegedly, and would give people access, through his access, to the children that he was abusing.
Yeah.
So he's basically a bit like, I know it's a really fucking crude way to put it, but a bit like a child pimp, basically, pimping out children to high-powered celebrities. Now, right, there you go, better word. Now, if you're one of these high-powered celebrities...
Of course. Let's say that you're head of MI5.
Well, not even a celebrity, just a high-powered person. That's the other thing. Yes, it wasn't just celebrities that missed it, but you get wind of this, right, that Miss Dando knows some stuff, and that she's going to talk, because a lot of people... Did you see that clip? I saw a clip of Bill Oddie. I know he's a bit of a knob and a weirdo, but he's a British celebrity for the international listeners who worked for the BBC for many years from the 60s onwards. Anyway, there's a clip of him just chatting away, being interviewed, and he says, nobody knew about it 20 years at the BBC, and he just does one of them fake, like, over the top, laughs, like, are you kidding me?
It's an open secret.
An open secret that everyone fucking knew about.
And he
they're all
axed
pussies.
after that interview from...
Springwatch?
Yeah.
You've all heard the Johnny Rotten clip.
Yeah.
Recorded in 1977, where he says, I'd love to talk about, I'm paraphrasing, but he more or less says, I'd love to talk about Mr. Savile, who's into all sorts of nasty,
you just
horrible
say
things.
nasty stuff.
And but I'm not allowed to, am I? None of us are allowed to, are we? And that bit of audio never came out until after Savile, you know. And so my point is, you're someone high up involved in all this, and we know this factually, that it existed. This isn't conspiracy theory. The paedophile rings, the links to the BBC, it's
and
all...
government, mate, as well. I mean, remember
all
that
proved.
There was a dossier that was given to Theresa May.
But they lost.
When she was Home Secretary, and didn't she say something like that paedophilia runs through Britain like Blackpool through a stick of rock?
I don't know, we'd have to verify.
Something like that.
Right.
And so it's like, she knew.
That's
it
my
runs
point.
through the tendrils of power in this country. I know it's the BBC, it's also one of those tendrils of power. It's the voice of the government, effectively.
And Jill Dando, being a decent, genuine, and bear in mind, a bit more backstory on her, like, she was a local, she's not like part of the elites, the high up, she was just from a decent family. She was a local television presenter, and basically just got moved up just through being good, and having a very warm presence on camera, because she was a genuine warm person. She's
like we have.
Yes, exactly. She might not have, I'm speculating here wildly, but she might not have been the sort of person who's going to fucking sit on this and be able to sleep at night knowing the company she works for turns a blind eye to this sort of behaviour. Savile, the royal links, the amount of abuse that we've heard about that's come out, right? You're one of these high-powered people, you are not going to let her fucking talk, are you?
Because people will listen to her. She's a trustworthy face on their telly every night.
Right.
You know, they're gonna believe what she says.
And if Savile did have the power that he's alleged to have had,
he could order killings. Basically, I heard that he could. I didn't know this when we did the episode on him, but I've heard it through the Jill Dando documentaries I watched online. There was some BBC employee, I can't remember who she was. She was a TV presenter, saying that she was told early on in her career, like, don't fuck with him.
Yeah,
basically.
if he wants to touch you up, let him
nasty.
touch you up, because otherwise he'll kill your career.
He's got very powerful friends.
But if he's procuring kids for government officials, I mean,
perhaps
then it could have allegedly. I did say if.
Don't worry.
So if allegedly he's procuring kids for government officials, figures in the intelligence services, figures in Parliament, figures in on the
police,
front, and the police on the front bench of the government at the time.
Come on.
You telling me that one of them people ain't got the power to have a MI5 boss? We need someone taken out.
Even what if it was gang? What if they just, I mean,
or in those circles, someone would know a fucking
someone who's going to
I mean, for all we know, the fucking chief of police looked through his files of known hitmen who they haven't quite got enough to arrest and went, we'll pay him some. Go do, you there, go out and fucking get him to kill her.
We've got our mate Hamish Campbell. I'll never find the killer.
Oh yeah, because Hamish Campbell's a fucking cop who never catches anybody.
Because, according to the police, it was Barry George and nobody else needs investigating, and that is that. And now, also, sorry, I've completely lost my train of thought. Somebody fill in. Sorry.
Well, I just think it's very likely. I mean, all this stuff was going on, as we said. That is not tinfoil hattery. That is not conspiracy theory. Our own Prime Minister made reference to it when she was Home Secretary. There was a dossier that was accidentally shredded, probably because the entire nation would collectively lose its fucking mind if they knew that people not only wasn't historical figures doing it, such as Ted Heath, and it was still going on, and they all knew it was going on.
And they only allowed the Savile stuff to come out after his death, because then he's the perfect fall guy for the entire thing. All this abuse can be pinned on him.
Yeah, no one else is doing
and
it.
Nobody else will ever talk.
Well, a few disc jockeys, wasn't it? And
well,
a couple of people.
That's what the thing is. It's weird. Basically, it all came from the dance halls and the first discos.
And maybe this could have come out 20 years ago, but they really fucking got on top of it and were like, no, this can't come out. But now, how long has it been since fucking Savile died?
Yeah, I think he was 2012.
Right, so
this, in all fairness,
12 years later.
Yeah, so 2014. This is coming out about her saying this.
Right.
But she's been dead for fucking 15 years at this point as well, and Savile's gone, so it doesn't matter what now, does it?
But my point is, I think they allowed the Savile stuff. Maybe they tried to. This was all going to come out 20 years ago, because a lot of it happened way before 20 years ago. But they really put a stop to it by putting. And if you're one of the people who knows about it, and you see Jill Dando, the face of the BBC, gets
6 o'clock
shot
news,
down,
the one that everyone watches while they're having their tea.
She's executed. Are you then going to speak up? Or are you going to think, if they could fucking execute Jill Dando, there's no fucking way I'm talking about what happened, at that BBC studio that time, that rumour I heard about Prince Andrew, or, is it him? Is he the one?
He was the one that went allegedly to had that mate who was a Texan billionaire paedophile.
The one where Bill Clinton went as
allegedly paid visits to that island. That was all hushed up pretty quick as well, wasn't it?
Dodgy cunts. That's what I mean. It's also incestual and inside and watching each other's backs, and it's the elites, and they fucking.
And if you notice, he's
they
kind of
killed
shoved to the
Jill
back as well.
Fucking Dando, in my opinion. She knew something. She was about to do. She was trying to. Well, it says the rumours. Somebody said, one witness that the source. Admittedly, that was from David Icke's website, that she had a dossier that she collected.
This is the one that sort of says about the dossier, but the other sources I looked at a few. I just got this article because it summed it up nicely.
And maybe,
every other pretty much article I searched for the same thing was, she handed something to the management.
And maybe it wasn't just purely out of the goodness of her heart. Maybe she actually thought, do you know what, I want to be taken as a serious investigative journalist.
Technically wasn't an investigative journalist, I mean, she was just a reporter.
Exactly, so maybe she was like, this is the case, I will fucking, prove myself as the best. Maybe that was it. But either way, I think it's fairly fucking obvious to anyone that it was a professionally organised hit. I think this is the most likely, only because of all the stuff that's come out about Savile and other various other government people and the pedo rings and that we know are real. She was a good person. People confided in her.
Yeah.
I don't think it's to do with Crime Watch, because I don't think they ever really. I mean, I haven't looked into this too much, but a lot of it was like robberies, burglaries. It wasn't sex trafficking rings and cocaine importers.
No.
You know,
it was minor stuff that happened in broad daylight or
that
in
you
the
can
evenings
solve
that people
easily
were
by
about.
that you can
There'd
solve
have been
easily by
witnesses.
doing a public appeal by showing a drawing. Oh man.
I mean, as well, remember, if let's say that you take that dossier to the management and they go, nah, don't run with that.
Yeah.
Well, you've always got the possibility she's just going to go rogue on the 6 o'clock news. She literally walks in with that dossier, sits down and starts reading and says, right, the following people are abusing kids. And just starts reading. How fast can they cut that off?
Yeah.
And also, what if the people in the studio are actually on her side and don't cut it off?
It's mad, isn't it?
It's easier to take out one person to explain why you've just broadcasted that live to the nation.
Could be a message to people.
Yeah, also a message to the people that knew, hey, look what happened to her.
If you can shoot... Because I cannot stress enough, at the time, what she was to the BBC. She was their absolute golden girl. If you can shoot her, you know, who the fuck is safe, you know?
I mean, all the big shows she was, you know, and as well as we mentioned earlier, the Millennium broadcast, which virtually everyone
in the country was going to be watching. Yeah,
you always tend to go for the BBC coverage of the Millennium.
Yeah,
or most people will, and she's the one doing it. She's going to be, she was tipped to the top basically.
Yep, and the key people around it have been promoted and are doing very well.
Yeah. Well, I've got one more theory for you. This is my own personal theory. Okay. Now, stick with me. A little bit of linguistics are involved here.
Okay.
The clue's in a name. Jill Dando.
Yeah.
Dando.
Okay.
Jill Dando. Dando rhymes with Lando. Lando Calrissian.
Okay.
Lando was a bit of a Judas.
Yeah.
Jill, Judas. Jill, Judas, Dando Calrissian. Dando Calrissian, Judas. Was she an agent, an undercover agent for the Russians or Mossad or somebody, and was giving away our government secrets to them, and they very ballsily thought, what nickname can we give, what's her code name? Well, she's a bit of a Lando Calrissian, but we can't call her that. And she's a bit of a Judas, we'll call her Jill Dando. Lando, Jill, rhymes with Lando, Dando, right?
Did you make this up yourself?
This is my theory.
What you're suggesting is that a code name was taken from Star Wars
and the Bible.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and nutshell this.
Okay.
So her theory, her code name. Even though her backstory is well documented about her growing up in a sleeping village in Kent or whatever.
Perfect agent.
Right. So she's already brainwashed at an early age into communism.
She's an incredibly good actor. Her parents were duped.
Right, and then
her parents are agents.
But where's she getting government files from? She's just doing the 6 o'clock news and
She's
holiday.
a fucking secret agent. She can do backflips through like the.
Oh right,
laser
okay.
beams
And still managing to present the 6 o'clock news.
Yes.
Getting there on time every day after backflipping
It's
through laser
obvious.
beams.
It's right there in Dando. Rhymes with Lando.
Must be it.
Well, all right. If it makes you happy, Gaz, then that's exactly what happened. She was bumped by MI5 for being a Russian sleeper agent. There you go. Okay.
Solved it.
You better
Next mystery.
You better go and tell fucking Detective Hamish. She already fucking jump on that theory.
Next mystery, please. Well, no, I jest. So, what do we think? Have we got any more, or are we concluding?
I think that's pretty much it for who could have done it. I'm gonna go with the just because of what was going on at the time in the BBC.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
I think she could have found something out, and some very powerful people made a decision to have a whack. Maybe one of the things was, if you don't tell the people about this, I will. And then the next day, pop
goes the Dando. Sorry. Yeah, I absolutely agree. This is the one I'm going. I mean, I don't know it for 100%. I mean, the Serbian one
is also a possibility.
Plausible. The IRA one's plausible. The crazed lunatic who knew a lot about guns, that's plausible. In a sense, but
you look at me.
My opinion. Occam's razor. I think she knew something that somebody didn't want her to know.
Yeah.
She had access to the biggest platform in the fucking country.
Primetime news.
Yeah. No, we're not having that. Shut up, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys on that.
The only thing I think, we all I think we all lean towards the finding out about the paedophile ring at the BBC.
Yeah.
But as we said, all the others are perfectly likely. I think the one thing we can all agree on is that the guy was a professional.
he fucking knew what he was doing, and he
They knew
executed
exactly
it
what they were
perfectly.
doing.
He didn't make a single fucking
No,
mistake.
he'd done it before, probably numerous times. So I think professional assassin, definitely.
I think
Covered
that's-
up at the highest level.
Yeah.
Certainly covered up.
Barry George is a patsy.
How can you interview 2,400 people and not get anywhere?
And then just end up arrested, basically blaming the local weirdo with really flimsy evidence.
Yes, whose fucking coat smells like yak urine.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So that was a good one. That was interesting.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's quite a sad one. She was
It is.
fucking. I watched a lot of footage obviously over the weekend. And obviously she's someone I haven't thought about for fucking donkey's years. But I was like, yeah, she was a bit lovely, wasn't she? Really? Probably completely innocent.
Yeah, all
Probably
the
trying
good
to do
people
the
get
right
murdered in this world, and the fucking devils are left to run amok.
The great Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
You would love him, Ben. Give him a chance.
I have actually tried to watch some of his stuff and it is alright. I'm
He's
changing my opinion on it slowly.
coming round.
Yeah, good on you, man. Yeah, so
But he just wasn't in the mood the last time I tried to make me watch it.
plus you've had to listen to me and Mike just. suck
Well, he
his
does say some good stuff.
metaphorical
I wouldn't say he's the funniest man alive, but he says some very
No.
good stuff.
I actually think he's not as funny. He's more like he's got something to say, and he uses humour to say it.
Yeah.
He's a bit more like a fucking preacher.
Much like
Bit
the
of a
guy that
truth
played,
teller, isn't he?
much like the guy that played Rufus, like George Carlin.
Yeah.
A lot like him. You know, he's telling you as it is, but he's making it funny so it sticks in your brain more.
Yeah. I was absolutely obsessed with him for a good few years when I was at uni and stuff. Like, I've watched every bit of his stand-up that's on film. There's an amazing film about him. I can't remember the fucking name of it. They sort of animate photographs.
Oh, cool.
That's the style of the documentary. It's brilliant, but I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, look for that. So, could we call a quick break before we
Yeah,
wrap
of course
up
we
this
can.
bad boy of a show?
No, I think we've pretty much give our conclusions on Jill, so we just finish
Yeah.
on weird news.
Yeah.
Because
Sounds
remember
good to
this, listener, you can check out the full Alex part of this show that was filmed on Facebook Live.
Well, they would have already heard it though, wouldn't they? If they're listening now.
Oh, well, maybe they haven't done follow. Maybe they don't follow our page and are wondering where
No,
full
but
Alex
they've
has gone.
listened to this episode. We still recorded it on
Oh
there.
yeah, I've just created my own time paradox.
You fucking stoner.
I've just created my own time paradox. Fuck, I went back in time.
Mate, when I'm the one who's fucking actually working things out and speaking sense, and things have gone wrong.
Wow. In all fairness, I think I've got a little bit of
You've been in the
sunstroke.
sun way
I've
too
gone
long.
very pink.
You have.
my Aryan skin is not done well today.
No.
Maybe the sunblock needs to come out tomorrow.
Yes. Now, please press pause before I piss myself.
Let's get the boys' views on this week's weird news.
So, let's finish on some weird news after I've managed to unfuck my own head. So, who wants this one?
I'll go first if you want. Get it out of the way. Right. Hairy animal species more likely to have smaller testicles, study finds.
Never was that hairy.
Well, I'm quite hairless, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that hairy.
Dear.
Isn't it?
A massive beard.
A great big bushy beard.
Isn't it
Tiny
strange?
pebble testicles.
Isn't it strange? The minute like someone sort of challenges the size of our testicles or penis, Gaz and I both leap onto the same train.
Yeah,
as
right.
Mike just sits here and goes, "Yeah, I've got tiny balls."
Yeah, most of a tiny cock.
Oh, well,
He's a complete opposite ego.
do you want to scroll down a bit for me, Mike? Primates with bushy beards or long hair may have smaller testicles.
You've got long hair, Gaz.
Fuck you. Who's only on my head, who struggle to grow facial hair, suggests a new study. A team from the University of Western Australia and the University of Zurich studied the gonads of more than 100 different male
You
primates.
thought that's
as
a
part of
fucking
their
job, do you?
research.
What do you do for a job? Study monkey nuts.
Look
I
at
have to go in the
monkeys'
monkey
testicles.
cage and touch the monkey knackers.
Yeah, I have to sedate a chimp and then measure his testicles.
Sedate him? Why didn't I think of that?
I just got my mate to put him in an headlock and then I tried to grab his bollock.
Measure it.
My mate lost his eye.
I'm trying to get the calipers around his bollocks to measure it.
We're going through interns like fucking nobody's business. Oi, new boy, get the monkey in an headlock.
You've had people blinded by flying monkey feces. It's gone to the root. It's
Or like the monkey just gets intensely aroused and then
Oh,
just
yeah.
like skull fucks you.
You know, interns, we've had raped by chimps this week.
I hate science!
Just like, play dead! Play dead!
Close your mouth, for God's sake!
He'll just stroke his balls while it's fucking away.
You stay still, play dead. I'm just trying to get the measurement.
Whoa, scientists are weird.
They certainly are. Should we cure cancer?
No, let's grab his bollocks.
Let's measure monkey testicles. Fuck's sake, science.
Well, okay. According to the scientists, male primates all fall victim to an evolutionary problem with their genitals. Essentially, the study found that males of species can either be, quote, well endowed with large balls, or are instead, quote, well adorned with hair.
That does make sense. I can't grow a beard for shit.
Researchers concluded that it's hard to be both of these things as it takes too much energy to do. Primatologist and study co-author Dr. Cyril Gruter explained that they chose to study primates as their testicle size can vary enormously, with the smallest being the size of peppercorns.
I'm going to show you mine aren't that small.
Oh, lucky you. Fuck off, peppercorn balls.
Calling them Dr. Pepper.
And the largest balls are comparable to a tennis ball.
Yeah,
That's not that big.
I'd go with that.
I got grapefruits like Mr. McMahon.
No, he's carrying them under his arm, Gaz. He wasn't going to do between his legs. Just under his arms.
That was one of his catchphrases. He's the genetic jackhammer because he's got the grapefruits. Anyway, well, I think we've basically covered this, haven't we? Or do you want me to go into more of the science?
It's up to you.
Well, we'll do one more quote from the weirdo scientist. He said, "Not all of them can have what they want, so how do they succeed? Well, they can produce so-called badges of status, showy ornaments that help their bearers control access to females by intimidating other males. And if males cannot keep others off their females, they can win by producing a lot of sperm to swamp those from their rivals, hence the big balls."
I feel that I'm at a slight disadvantage in that respect.
Because you've got tiny balls.
No, because I can't grow a beard, so therefore obviously I've got big balls
okay.
by this theory. But a man with like a glorious Victorian style beard,
all the hipsters
can wear that as on display all the time.
because they've got tiny peppercorn balls.
No, I tried to have my balls on display all the time when I was
you've got a beard, Mike, sorry.
But it's too late by the time you got the bird in bed.
This is what I mean. They can't go back out at that point. Now I can't walk around. My balls on display. And the last time I did, I got arrested.
There you go. Well, keep your balls in, please. We're all wearing shorts.
But this is my point. I feel that yes, I've got the better deal for the woman. You know, plenty.
But you want both? You want a big bushy beard and big balls?
No, what I want is to be able to say to the woman, "Hey, you know his beard? That's nothing compared to my balls. Look at these."
Yeah, but what if she then just goes to the hipster and he's got massive balls? Anyway, let's stop talking about balls.
But this theory says that he's got peppercorn balls.
Yeah, well,
Whereas mine are like tennis balls.
That's what's came out of this, is that scientists say hipsters have peppercorn balls. That's what I take from the story.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah, I think you're right. Absolutely.
Need my peppercorn balls, Adam.
You're not a hipster. You're too cool to be a hipster. You're our generation. We're the last fucking real people in the world, man.
No.
We're the last ones who can remember before the internet. You know, and the internet. We know both.
And text messages. I don't recall. Do you get text messages when they're like 16, 17?
17-ish. 16, 17, yeah. Right, come on then. What's happening?
But I actually have to ring people up and speak to them.
Well, fuck that.
World's most expensive burger with a gold-dusted bun will set you back £700.
No, it won't. Because I won't fucking buy it. I wouldn't be that stupid even if I was rich.
Yes. Neither would I. In fact, if I was rich, I'd be more stingy.
That's how you stay rich.
That's it, innit?
Rich people are stingy.
I mean, the minute, you know, I live month to month, I'm like, yeah, go on, I'll buy that, fuck it.
I live day to day.
And then again, you've got wealthy friends who are posting on holidays, you know, abroad every other week. And you're
but how much debt are they getting in for that? You know, never tell you
that.
that.
I know, but the social pressure is for you to go and buy a gold-dusted bun.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't want to spend £700 on a burger. I want to spend £700 on a nice holiday, all-inclusive, in fucking Cyprus for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but there's some cunts on the internet think it's cool.
Oh, I'm not denying that.
You know,
as I said, we're the last real generation.
Yeah. The greatest generation.
But never actually
didn't go to World War.
We're the greatest generation that never did
We're the
anything.
second greatest generation. How's that?
So So Chef Patrick Shimada, who works at the Outdoor Steakhouse in Tokyo's Roppongi district, is the man behind the creation, which will be on the menu until June. The Golden Giant Burger is made up of a 1 kilogram patty, Wagyu beef slices, foie gras?
Foie
gras, so you know, cultured I am.
Hey.
Foie gras.
Fucking force-fed animals.
That's a luxury paste made from duck and goose
They
liver.
force feed them so their livers burst.
Basically.
Wow.
That's one of the things I'm on the vegetarian and vegan activists' side. So I've never eaten it, and it sounds fucking barbaric to me.
I just wouldn't want to eat it. I don't want to eat duck liver.
I don't like that.
Doesn't sound very appetising.
No.
Shaved truffle, lettuce, cheddar cheese, tomato and onions. Now, if that was me ordering that burger, I'd be like, right, hold the foie gras, hold the truffle, hold the lettuce, hold the tomatoes, hold the onions and make me fart. And just give me extra cheese and another sliced burger, would you please?
Yeah.
So, the huge bun, which is 6 inches wide and 10 inches tall, is dusted with gold.
Why?
It's been created to celebrate the crowning of the new Japanese emperor.
There you go.
Crown Prince Naruhito.
Do they over there still think the emperor's picked by God? Is he?
No, I don't. No, I think that when the Allies won the war, one of the conditions was that the Japanese didn't.
They had to.
He had to admit he was a bloke.
Yeah.
He wasn't a god.
I remember that now.
Obviously, Enrico. I think we mentioned it.
That's why. Back to me now.
That's why Japan was a melting pot of religion.
Yeah,
it's that everyone had just lost their religion and were desperately searching for something else.
Which is what the REM song is about. It's not.
I have no idea.
Losing my.
We used to have a thing at work. I used to be on the radio so often that when it came on, I was driving around on a truck at the time. One of us would always, if in view of someone else, would always jump off the truck and go hide around the corner.
That's
me in the corner, and you shout out, "That's me in the corner!"
Right. Is that the burger done?
That's the burger done. Let these indulgent burgers be the perfect choice for celebration, the website says from the Oak Door Steakhouse.
Perfect if you're rich and stupid. Right. What's next? Last one.
You can now buy a cream egg flavoured vagina made from fudge for Easter.
Wow. Oh, of course, it's going to be Easter weekend. It's Easter weekend, isn't it? As we're recording this.
From the dead. Wow. I love cream eggs and vaginas. This is win-win.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's fudge moulded into the shape of a vagina, and it comes in several different flavours, including cream egg.
Wow. What a world we live in.
I don't think I'd want to eat the cream egg vagina because that's like, I've got sloppy seconds.
Nah, because it's not though, is it?
Yeah, but...
It's wonderful firsts. Unless you've let somebody else eat out of your cream egg vagina beforehand. Let your dog have a lick. Don't do that.
He wouldn't have the first lick though, would he? Let's face it. Got to establish dominance.
Well, who's this marketed at?
The Fudginas were launched in the UK last December by a man named Matthew Garbett, who says he created them in order to spark countless what the fuck moments across the country.
Well, he succeeded.
Yep.
He says, I started it because you could send almost anything else on the internet. Why not vaginas or vulvas, if we're being anatomically correct?
Fair play, I couldn't say that.
Also receiving it in the mail is just a what the fuck the moment, which is hilarious.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'll send one to my mother.
Only $11.99 each.
Wow.
And all of the fudge is 100% vegan, so it's a gift that anyone can enjoy. That's a nice plug for Mr. Garbett. I'll give him that. He's just as we mentioned the other week, they had to tell us that they were a vegan.
Well,
and he's like,
jumped in.
He's jumped in already. By the way, if you're a vegan, you can have this.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
free delivery in the UK though.
I'll have one for Christmas, please, boys. Cream egg flavoured.
Fair enough. I'll try and remember that.
Well, that was interesting.
I think we were actually fairly factual today.
Yeah, it was a pretty grounded episode, I think.
Probably because of my sunstroke.
And I solved it with Jill Dando Dando Calrissian.
Yeah. Pass it on to the police and see what they say.
I will do, Ben. I will do. I am the police.
Are you the law?
I am the law. Thank
God,
you.
imagine if we were judges, that'd be terrible. It'd be fucking
Judge Dredd wouldn't like me.
He would not.
He'd execute me himself.
We'd be the ones that, why are them three lawgivers parked over, what are the motorcycles?
Law masters.
Law masters. Why are them three law masters parked over there? We're all just in an alleyway getting high.
Yeah, he would definitely frown upon that.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Let's wrap it up.
Okay, so thanks for listening. Please like our Facebook page, Cutting to the Ball and the Post-Truth Apocalypse. leave us a review or a recommendation. That'd be very nice. I've been Ben. I'm going to say don't drink the Flavour Aid and don't join a cult.
I've been Gaz. Thank you for listening. Free Biff Tannen.
I've been Mike. Thanks for listening. Peace out. May the force be with you.
You started that Jedi course, shit.
I'm just on question 2.
Not better than question 1.
It certainly is. Progress.
Alright, thank you and good night.